Welcome to the Asking Why podcast. I'm your host, Clint Davis, and we're back for another episode. This one's kind of interesting. I'm doing some Wednesday meetings. Some of you might have been seeing it on KTAL. KTLA? KTAL?
One of them.
Yeah, one of those. And on Wednesday mornings, I'm doing like a little mental health 5-minute clip every Wednesday. So if you want to check that out, you can. We'll put the link in the show notes. But so every Wednesday, I've been going on there and just trying to really educate people on mental health, different, boundaries, different ways of understanding trauma, all the things that people don't talk about. And so I was in there one morning, and usually there's other guests that come on, periodically, and Charleszette and Heather were there. And so I asked them kind of what they did, and they introduced themselves. And I was like, oh, you'd be a great guest to talk about this on the podcast, because I don't think we've never done an episode in 185 episodes. So I don't know who wants to go first. So for everybody listening, Heather is on a phone call and Charlezette's in person. So if you want to see Charleszette and her beautiful smile, you can watch YouTube or watch it on Spotify or whatever. If you're just listening to us, Heather has called in and she's going to be on the phone too. So who wants to go first and kind of introduce themselves?
I mean, since I'm here, I might
Yeah,
as
that's
well,
right. You're in person. You get to go first.
Well, my name is Charleszette Tyson-Roe. I am originally a native of Monroe, but I moved here going on 4 years ago because my soon-to-be now husband lives here.
Okay.
And yeah, I've just been going where God has led me, and he's led me here to where I'm able to be in a position to help kids and be that bridge between what they know and what they don't know, but they're curious to know.
That's right. So tell us your position. What do you do?
I am an area representative for the International Student Exchange Program.
Okay.
We are based in New York, but we have so many area representatives all across America who are doing the same exact thing that I'm doing, putting the word out the best way that they can to let people know that we have so many kids. I want to say over 500. Heather, correct me if I'm wrong. But we have a lot that are wanting to come over here and learn about the culture, because America as a culture, everyone knows about us. Everyone has seen, especially Hollywood movies and everything like that. So of course, being a young, impressionable person, you definitely, when you're presented with the opportunity to go there, you're like, yeah, sign me up, But actually seeing something when it's all glossed and everything is one thing versus actually doing it in practice and experiencing, because there's so many different, underneath the American culture, there's so many subcultures.
That's right.
and so many different people in different places in their lives. And I think it's important for especially young people to see that, because just like any singular person, you can't just put anyone or anybody's situation in a box. I've learned as I've gotten older. I'm 33 now. I'm so old.
So old.
I've learned.
I remember when I thought that 10 years ago. And then what's the problem? What the problem with this ageism thing is every time I say like, oh man, I'm 44, there's some 60-year-old who's like, oh yeah. And I'm like, can I just be old finally?
Oh my gosh. I know. They always want to disrespect you. You're like, dude.
I think I'm an adult.
Yeah. Like, I know I don't have kids, but I am tired at the end of the day. Okay. but yeah, like there's so much gray area. Nothing, I've learned so many things are not just black and white. And as you get older and you allow God to mold you, you do gain a better perspective of that.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you. Heather, tell us about you.
Yes. Hi, I'm Heather Manz. I'm a program manager here at ISE, and I've been doing student exchange for a little over 11 years. Our family actually was introduced to it. A friend of mine hosted every year back in Kentucky, where I'm originally from, and now I'm in the Houston area. But she hosted every year and brought those kids to church and to youth group and to the Bible studies we did. And it always was such a fascinating thing to me. And then when we moved to Houston, we started our exchange adventure. We picked out our first girl in 2015, who is still my bonus girl, my bonus daughter. She's now married, has a toddler and a new baby due any day now. So it's really fun to keep up with them and really pour into them, not just for the moment. When our family actually originally decided to host it was to have a mission trip at home.
Oh,
we
yeah.
had 2 young kids. They were in elementary school. We searched through our local church and even other mission programs to see where we could go and what we could do. And really the Holy Spirit just led us back to the fact that we needed to invest at home. And what better way than to bring a kiddo and love them well, take them to church, take them to youth group, just as my friend had modeled for our family. And we really embraced that. And within a couple months, I was just like, I've got to be a part of this. And now, all these years later, we've hosted several kids. And personally, I've been able to impact thousands of kids in my role as a manager to help them have a successful program, guide my reps as they're helping the kids adjust and adapt and the different cultural challenges that come up. So yeah, I absolutely love it. I can't really see myself doing anything else.
That's awesome. So this is something I think that people don't think about a lot from a Christian perspective, especially, but like, yeah, we're here to reach the nations, and yet this is a beautiful opportunity for the nations to come to us and for people to, maybe they have kids and they want their kids to have more experiences, or maybe they don't have kids and they weren't able to have kids, and so they want to bring this in. I mean, there's all kinds of varieties of the ways. Maybe they, they're passionate, but they don't feel like they're capable of adopting or fostering. I mean, I feel like this is another beautiful way of kind of having someone into your life, loving on them, caring for them.
We did a festival, a world language festival, in Monroe, matter of fact, last weekend, I want to say. And that's the main thing Heather just kept saying over and over again to get the point across. It's like, you just got to love them and feed them.
That's right.
That's really like the main requirement, because like we said, like the kids, they want to be here. No one's forcing them. They want to experience America as they see it. And what we hope is that they leave with so much more, because all of us go into a situation assuming we already know what we're going to get out of it. And then we go into it, and it hopefully it leaves such a lasting effect on us that will positively, affect us from here on out.
Yeah, when I was a junior, maybe, there was a kid who came over from Finland, and his name was Max, and he was on our basketball team, and he lived down the street from me, and we just me and our little friend group brought him in and hung out with him. He was such a sweet guy. We were connected like 10 years ago. I was thinking about it this morning, like, man, I need to look and see if I can
you're such a good friend.
Find out. Yeah, that's right. Find out. But, we stayed friends for 20 years.
Oh, okay.
So off and on. And anyway, but this sparked my thought of like, man, I wonder what happened to him and how he grew and how his life went. But at the time, I learned so much about Finland and so much about, I was joining the military, and they were, they have to join the military, every single person there. And so anyway, it's just, the different dynamics, as you're saying, like I learned a bunch. He was coming here to get, from America, so to speak, but yet we learned so much from them. And I think that's really needed for teenagers, especially.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because like when people agree, like host families agree to allow a foreign exchange student into their home, I don't think they really think about like, oh, how this will change my perspective and add knowledge to me that I didn't know. Yeah. Because you would think like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I gotta represent for America. I gotta, show them the best. Look good. You gotta look good, you know. But I mean, depending on how long y'all live together. But overall, like, I really don't think people go into it thinking about that. But that is the beauty of it, is that but each side is taking something from the other in a good way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I would love to talk about that for a second. So a couple things. A lot of times people think of an exchange student and then think they have to trade one of their kids. Like
You're exchanging them. Yeah.
Exchanging a kid.
Some people want to exchange some of their kids.
Yeah, they may. And, the exchange students usually come in and really kind of show up and do their chores and do the things that they're asked to. So I always used to say that to my kids, I never have to tell Meta to do the dishes. Meta always remembers to do the dishes.
Oh boy.
When it's her turn. And, sorry, back to my point. With it, it's really a cultural exchange. Yeah. So, and deeper into that, even your own family has traditions and things that you do that add depth and, a further understanding. Like, well, my host family is from America, but they're different than my best friend's family. They do different traditions and different things. So it does become more personal than just this generic experience because every family is unique.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can agree to that for sure. And then I also love how, like, and going back to counseling, with me having a counselor background, that was something that I thought would be extremely beneficial, having those skills in this position, because, you know, like I said, you're working with young, impressionable minds, and our job is to not only find host families and host families to find the quote unquote perfect or the just right fit for their home exchange student, but we're also here just in case any one of them needs someone to talk to, because it can be challenging having to, you know, you think, like I say, you think you're going into it like, oh, okay, this is just a regular teenage kid, you know, like mine. And it's like, but they have different customs and they have different ways of living. And, you know, you may not necessarily be mentally prepared for that. You could be told that, but like I said, being told something, watching something, it's different than doing it in practice and actually experiencing it. And so I feel like being a counselor, having those skills of just being a good listener. I'm sure you know this, like at least when I counseled, first of all, my clients loved me.
I bet they did.
But I allowed them to be fully themselves. I didn't, you know, whether they were kids or whether they were adults, I wanted them to come into a space where they didn't feel judged. And they felt like, I'm just here to listen. I'm not here to tell you who you should be, who I expect you to be. This is your journey, and we're here to work through why you're here, and hopefully get you out better on the other side. And using those skills and applying it to this position, I think, is amazing. I haven't quite had the opportunity to do it yet because I'm a newbie, but I look forward to that, to helping the kids in those tough situations, or the host families, and be like, you know, just be the listener, give good sound advice, and help them see things from a different perspective.
So tell me what, I think that's great. Tell me what, like what's the acronym you used? International.
Oh, ISE.
International Student Exchange,
Yeah.
ISE.
So where does that come from? Tell me why don't you tell me a little bit about it? Because I have no clue. Who founded that? Like how did that come about? Like why is that a thing?
Heather.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be happy to. So, yes, I'm the seasoned, grizzled professional here. But yeah, so Student Exchange, actually, the whole inception of the program came about after World War II to help promote peace among the nations through our youth. They, a long time ago, saw the value in kids having friendships across the world and the strength of actual human connection. And so that really still is the foundation of our programs today. We're still trying to make connections across the world to make the world a kinder place, a more understanding place. And ISE specifically has been around over 42 years, and we're still family owned and operated.
Oh, wow.
So that's really fantastic because although we take our role very seriously to protect and care for these kids and our families, there's still that family touch, like personal touch, because it is family owned and operated. And the people that are leading the company and in these different roles, we've all been here for years and years and years. And we do it because we have a passion for it.
Is it a nonprofit? Is it a ministry? Like what?
Yeah, I apologize.
No,
yeah.
okay.
So ISE is a nonprofit organization. All J1 agencies, which is the type of visa the kids come over on there, it's an education visa, and you have to be a nonprofit to do a J1 program.
Got it.
So we fall under the Department of State, and we are certified through them, and then we have CSIET is like a governing body that sets best practices and standards, and they rate us on our compliance and all the different factors that we're held to.
Yeah. So who you say it's like a family owned, who started it? Is there a particular family? Did
Yeah,
families?
Wayne Brewer.
Okay.
Wayne Brewer started it, and he's fantastic. And then his
And what year
son,
was
Craig.
World War II? So Florida. Yeah. I don't want to do that.
No, so his son Craig has recently taken the helm. His dad's been more of a consulting leadership,
Gotcha.
still a very vibrant leader, but Craig has really kind of taken the helm and is moving us into the next generation of student exchange.
Yeah. And are they Christians? Is it a Christian organization, or is it is it just kind of general?
No, it's not a faith-based organization,
Okay.
but many of the people who work there, like myself, we are faith-based people, and regardless of anyone's religious status on my team, they're, a tenet of my team is that we treat everyone with kindness and respect,
Mm-hmm.
even if we're not being treated that way. So I still bring those principles into how I lead and guide and direct my team and how we care for the families and students that are in our care.
Gotcha. Yeah. So the overarching thing isn't necessarily missional. It's kind of founded on helping people come together in unity and diversity and those kind of things, which ultimately is in my opinion, Christian principle.
I was about
and
to
so
say.
it's like missional. So if you're a Christian, man, what a great thing to tie into. And if you're not, you're at least trying to make the world a better place and
Yeah.
put down dividing walls.
And what
all
a
those kind of
great
things.
way to have an introduction to God and Christianity.
Sure.
Because, we all know, God shows up. He can show up in any situation, within anyone, like some places and some people you would least expect.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just what makes him who he is and how amazing he is. And using this opportunity to, do what you would like to do, you definitely see God through the whole entire process. Because like you said, it is just bringing people together. And I like what you said earlier. You said the nations are coming to us or the nations are coming to you. And I was like, ooh, I like that. That should be like a slogan or something.
That's right. Well, people feel like, oh, I can't do international missions, or maybe they have a disability, or maybe they have a kid with special needs, and that makes their life really difficult. But they still want to be able to, say, hey, Matthew 28 tells me to go, to Jerusalem, Judea, and to the ends of the earth. Well, with international exchange, you have the opportunity for them to come here. And one of my friends and mentors, David Wheeler over in Ruston, he does a lot with international exchange students at Tech, Louisiana Tech.
Oh, okay.
And so, he has talked a lot about this kind of stuff with me over the years, and caring for them who are coming in and making sure they're being loved on, and get a church and be taken to dinner and really, have a second family, but also then respect their views and learn from them and all that. And I think that's a very beautiful opportunity, because as Americans, I think we can sometimes think like we have it all together. And we are the greatest country on earth in some respects, but we're the last in a lot of statistics. And so there's ways in which we can go, hey, look, I love that it's freedom of religion. I love that it's freedom of ethnic persecution anymore. There's trying to get rid of systemic racism. We're working in equality in all areas in ways I think that are better than any other country. However, there's a lot for us to learn. We're still a baby country, a baby society, and culturally there are a lot of other countries who have been around a lot longer. And so, what do we have to learn from them? Yeah. What do we have to learn from other Christians or other people who are coming? Because, there's some missionaries in Asia sending missionaries to America. You know what I mean? Like literally. So it's like we tend to have this kind of centralized American ego where we think even Christianity, is centered here. And it's like, man, there's so much more going on that we need to learn from all over the world. And so what an amazing opportunity for somebody who has high school students or who who has the ability to host high school students to say, hey, let me bring this in. And instead of having this save the world complex, it's like, how can we bring people in and learn from them?
Exactly.
Anyway.
I love that you brought up ego, because it's like you took the word right out of my mind. Because I was like, yeah, that's really what it is. Like, I, again, at this old age of 33, I feel like
Hey, that was Jesus's age, so we can say that's a mature year.
Okay. But I feel like life is just a giant classroom, and you should never be not learning something. Mm-hmm. We're all students until graduation, and we know what graduation is. Yep. Like, we should be anyway, because I mean, and it's like no matter how old you get, there's always something new to learn and a different perspective to gain on something, and or a wider perspective. You know, you can still feel the same way about something, but you can have more of an understanding.
Yeah, expand it.
You know, and I just think that's the beauty of humans and just life. It's just, you know, we have to be open to differences and how those differences are really here to benefit us, you know?
I think a huge part too, and Heather, jump in and interrupt us anytime you want to.
Whenever there's a little, I have some add-ons, so please finish what you were saying.
No, you go ahead. I got it in the bank.
Okay, I'm trying to I'm kind of like the little puppy from Up, and I'm like, squirrel, and so I have to take a little note to make sure I stay on topic, but so a few things that you guys mentioned. As far as who can host, anybody that has a little extra space in their home can host. It can be, we have empty nesters that host, widows, single adults, single parents, parents with no kids, with babies, with teens.
It sounds like it would be easier to say who can't host.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, of course, criminal history, we have a vetting process for our host family.
You mean felons can't?
Yeah, hey, they're turning their life around, okay?
Right. I'm just saying, that's y'all's rules. That's not my judgment.
So, I don't know. But pretty much anybody with an open mind, open heart, and a little extra space at home can host a kiddo.
But there is a background check. They're all, I'm sure there's lots of safety policies and precautions that make sure.
There are safety policies, but also for our families. Like, I want you guys to know, if anyone listening is interested in hosting, like, we also do a very thorough application on the students, on their parents. They have to have community recommendation, a school recommendation. We have their transcripts. Like, everything is done very thoroughly so that this can be the best experience for everyone involved. And when we actually first started hosting, I just had a quick thought about that when you guys were sharing about expectations. And I was like, preparing the nest, getting her room ready, doing all the things. And I was like having this internal prayer conversation of like, God, I'm not perfect. I am going to yell at my kids. I bet sometime this year I'm going to yell at these kids and she's going to think, like, I'm not a good witness for you, or I'm not, whatever. And God was so good and gentle with me and just reminded me, like, this isn't about you. It's just about her seeing me through you.
So
and
good.
I was like, oh, yeah, this isn't about me at all. Like, that just took all the pressure away. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? I'm human. I need God to be the best version of myself. And when I falter, she's going to see how we pick that back up. She's going to see how we discipline our kids, the conversations we have when we volunteer, the thing, like how we live our life is how she's going to see God, not us preaching to her.
Yeah, it's so good. I mean, I think people could take just on any level, if they're not interested in this conversation, they can take that to heart and say, look, if we believe we need a savior in Christ, then we don't need to believe we're the savior and that we need we're going to let him down or that we're going to fail him. I mean, if we just go through scripture, the story of the Bible is literally God being sovereign, saying what's going to happen, people completely not listening to him and doing what they want to, and then him keeping his promises. And so, if somebody's out there listening to this and they feel the Holy Spirit tugging and like, oh man, we've been kind of thinking about this, or we have this opportunity, or wouldn't this be good for our kids? And their instinct is to think, well, I don't have what it takes. You don't, but you have the Holy Spirit and you have a God who's given you what it takes, and he's given you a new heart and a new mind. And if you're somebody who maybe is from another background or faith background, like, you have to decide for yourself, like, none of us are perfect. None of us can come. We're going to make mistakes, but when we make mistakes, the strongest building of relationships is when we repair ruptures. And we live in a society where, as parents, people keeping kids, if you think, man, I don't want them to really see how we are, I don't want them to see the mistakes because it's going to hurt them. It's like, no, they need to see the imperfection, but you need to repair that. Have conversations and say, hey, I messed that up, but here's how I take responsibility. Here's how we redirect. Like, everybody benefits from repairing the ruptures. The problem is that if we're looking at this from a perspective of, our own childhood, our own teen years, our own relationship with our parents and our kids, and they never repaired any ruptures, then we're terrified to make any mistakes, especially with a kid who's not yours and somebody who you're trying to represent America and Jesus to. It's like, that's a lot of pressure to put on your shoulder. I was just about to say, it's
a lot of pressure.
Yeah. So it's like, if you're in the process of wanting to do this is part of counseling and therapy and pastoral care. Is like, do the work to figure out why do you feel the responsibility to carry the world on your shoulders? Your job is just to do what God has put in front of you.
I love that.
And then go, hey, is he faithful? Not am I faithful?
Yeah.
I'm going to fail, but he's faithful and he's good and he's just, and he's promised to go before me and with me into things and to make beauty out of ashes and to the work that he began in us to complete.
Yeah. So
this idea that I've been doing a whole lot is what gets us in trouble, if that makes sense. Anyway, that's a tangent. That's right.
Yeah. Well, I think that, it does feel it can feel a little scary. It can feel like an experience like that because you're committing to have this kiddo with you for a semester or the whole school year.
But you guys are obviously here. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You got a team of people around you. Yeah, tell us about that.
So our company, we have a lot of levels of support. So right in your local town, there's an area rep like Charleszette, or here in Houston where I am, there's me. There's lots of us all over the place, sprinkled all around. And the area rep is the number one support person for questions. If there's any cultural misunderstandings, we're the bridge builders to help either you understand this child's culture and their perspective of where they're coming from, so you can be a better communicator with them of what your needs or expectations are, or for the children to adapt to something that could be very different and shocking for them that they're not used to. And we can help walk them through that and help them understand, this is a typical thing in American culture, or just helping them better understand and adapt to something that could be new.
See, that's what I'm super excited about.
Yeah, and we meet with the families and the kids every month. Alternating months are in-person visits, so we are with you in person, but we are always available for a text, a phone call. If there's a question, we're here through the whole thing. And then if any issues do arise, we have a support system in place to help with that. We are partnered with this child's agency from their home country, and they have somebody just like us that is invested in this child and their success and the host family's success and happiness. So there's a lot of people that are available and ready to help if anything does come up.
Yeah. And we're also open to having more area representatives. So if anyone is listening to this and are like, well, I may not necessarily want to be, a host, but I would love to also help to be that bridge. It's like, please visit the website.
Yeah. What does that look like?
Well, you can go online. It's iscusa.org, correct, Heather?
But what's a representative? Like, what do they
area
do?
representative?
Yeah.
Okay. So our job is basically what I'm doing now, going to everywhere, whether it's a news station, podcast, radio station, or just going to your local church, going to officials of schools, the high schools in the area, just letting people know that you exist and what your job is and what we're wanting to do. And, especially going to the officials of the high schools, they're like, oh yeah, we've had exchange students before, or I know we talked to a principal around here in one of the high schools that talked about their own personal experience being friends, just like you did earlier with an exchange student back in their day. So it's really just a lot of advertising. You can't be shy.
Yeah. Well, you're not, Charleszette. So I think you could sell me a broken spoon or something. So I think you're the right person for it.
All right. But yeah, it's really just not being afraid to go out there and let people know what it's about. And yeah, like I said, I'm a newbie. So it's a lot of it is the waiting game. And I was told even by Heather, like it can move slowly because, you know, especially now with the economy, the way that it is and everything happening, like, you know, people have their own things they need to worry about. So they may not be necessarily, they may have the heart to want to invite a student in, but, you know, money and time and, you know, so many things.
Speaking of that, what is like the funding situation? Like
they have their own insurance.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't they have their own spending money?
Yeah, I'll totally, yes.
Yes.
So how that works is the host families are responsible for, we say, loving them and feeding them and keeping them safe. Mm-hmm. So it's not adoption, it's hosting. Mm-hmm. The kids cover all of their personal expenses. That's a good point. Yeah. It's because my husband, when we first considered it, I said, babe, we're not adopting her. Like, he was such in a mindset of a provider and the caregiver and like this child's needs. And I was like, we do need to take good care of her, but this isn't us forever. Yeah. Promise. Yeah. So, anyway, but the kids cover their own personal expenses, from their phones to toiletries, if they have special food requests that are outside of your normal family budget. They cover anything if they go out with friends, or Chick-fil-A versus Cane's. There's always a battle every year about which one's got the better chicken.
Chick-fil-A.
So really, it's meals at home, meals with your family, and then just the normal cost of having an extra person in the house, an extra shower, an extra load of laundry. Yeah.
That's good. Okay. That's helpful. You know, because people, you know, these are the questions that people ask for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I think I got a message. That's why that ding noise was.
Right, no, you're good. What else, Heather? What are we missing? What's the age range for teenagers? Is it like 12 to 18 and 12 to 17? What's the 13 to 17?
Actually, that's a great question. So for the Department of State guidelines, the kids are high school students, and they have to be at least 15 years old when they arrive on program.
Okay.
So we've got bunches of great kids. And I was going to say, you know, when you're talking about picking out the air quotes perfect student, it is like Charles said, perfect for you. We have all of the kids' applications in a database, and we do a very informal chat with a potential host family. And I just want to say this, it's all window shopping until you sign the paperwork. And so it's fine to be interested and ask us questions, and even let us show you a couple potential applicants that might be a good fit for your family.
Yeah. It's
not committing you to hosting. It's just getting information to our volunteer families. So we search the database, and we find as many connections for friendship as possible, like what hobbies and activities, the activity level of the family, things they like to do for fun. Sports, even a parent's job could be a potential connection, because maybe that's what that kid wants to be when they grow up.
Yeah.
So we take all of those factors in consideration, and out of our hundreds of applicants, we really fine tune it down to 4 to 6 kids that would be a great fit for your family. And the family ultimately chooses which student they want to host. What's really fun is, as soon as all the paperwork is done and the school has accepted the child, once that placement, we call it, closes, where everything is done and we finished all of that application process, you actually get to start talking to your student and getting to know them. So when they arrive in August, before school starts, you're really picking up a friend, not a stranger.
Yeah.
So we encourage our families to pick early, so you have a longer lead time to get to know these kids and start building that friendship.
Wow. So now would be a perfect time for people to start kind of looking into it, reach out to Charleszette, figure out in our area who wants to do what. That's great. Didn't even plan that.
Yeah, it's perfect time, actually. We've got lots of sweet kiddos waiting to be chosen. And I did want to touch base really quickly. So in our education system, we don't really have an exchange year or a gap year built in. But in a lot of other countries, they have this gap year built in where kids can study abroad, or they can go to boarding school, or they can do some kind of an experiential learning to help them, number one, mature, open them to new experiences, and they consider that part of their education, which was so interesting. So
wow.
For our family, when we got to kid number 4, he did not know what he wanted to be when he grew up. He didn't know what he wanted to do right after he graduated high school. He had a bunch of dual credit. He was an athlete, but he just did not know what his next steps were. And because of my engagement and being involved with these kids all these years, it changed David and I's perspective, the American perspective of know what you have to do when you grow up and move to the next step and grind. Like, we were like, no, we're not doing that. We see all these other successful kids come from these other cultures, and they did not have that pressure on them.
It's so good
to have to know that when they're still children.
Yeah.
And so we were like, it's okay, Cooper. And actually, we were going to send him abroad because some of his former exchange sisters were like, send him to Denmark, send him with us. He can come stay with us for a few months. And we were literally like, okay, maybe his journey this next year is to travel and stay in these different countries with his host siblings, and learn about the world. And maybe that's where God will lead him to his next decision. He actually did figure it out. He's at University of Arkansas, and he's getting an international business degree. He's bilingual, and he's doing great. But the freedom that he had to not be that pressured, like that was totally an impact on our family from hosting.
That's really cool. That's a really awesome way of seeing that, God can use those things to shape our own kids and our own life for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And everybody's just so different, like some kids, look, I think a gap year for some people could be very beneficial.
I would probably say most people, to be honest.
Okay, see, I was trying to be nice.
Don't be nice. Tell the truth.
Okay.
With grace.
No, but
the average is people change their degree 5 times.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was me.
Yeah,
that was me.
That's the average. So it's like, come on, what are we doing? It's just this machine of, and I do, tons of talks on this, but, it's just this machine of American culture of like, you got to grind it out. You got to take all the AP classes. You got to get into college early. You got to make a good GPA so you can make good money, so you can have a good job, so you can be happy.
That's so much to put on a kid.
Well, also it doesn't work.
Yeah.
I mean, people are in my office every day who've done all of those things and they're miserable.
Yeah.
Because they're not relational. They're not connected. They haven't grown as a human being emotionally, spiritually. And so I do think this is a huge opportunity. I mean, I'm just thinking about it as I'm saying it just for our kids, like in the future of having someone who they get to see the world, differently and learn from and exposed to, their privilege or whatever the situation is that they have. And that's so vital. And like you said, Heather, and then thinking of opportunities of sending them and going, okay, how can they go do that? If that's what your kid, wants to do, if they're stuck, if they don't know what they want to do, man, like, please don't send them to college to pay, $30,000 for them to go join a fraternity and drink and act like an idiot. Like, I mean, that's what happens when you get in trouble and you're 19 and you don't know what you're doing. You wander and you make choices.
Are you revealing something about yourself?
Oh, that's already been revealed. No, I joined the Army.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. It was an even worse mistake on some level. Right during 9/11, it's like, well, that was a good choice.
Jeez.
Yeah. So it was a crazy direction. But again, I look back and I don't regret it.
Yeah.
So that's the other part is God is sovereign even in these hard, difficult situations. All right. So any other, Heather, any details more that you want to give me that we're missing before we wrap up? I don't want to miss anything on your end. Just when people were asking, like, what is this? I think we've covered a lot of it, but.
Yeah. So in a nutshell, we are a nonprofit agency, so it's very grassroots effort of getting the word out and sharing. And I like to tell people that we're looking for unicorn families, right? We need people that are open, they have a little extra space at home, they're willing to love a kiddo that isn't theirs for a short time and, invest in that child and their future and kind of see that vision for them.
It's a semester or a year. Is that what you said?
It's right. It
could be either.
They can come for 1 or 2 semesters, but some school districts only will allow the full year students, like over by me. But a lot of the schools will allow them just to do a semester. But most of our kids, they really want to come experience. They call it the over the top American holidays. Because if you think about it, like as soon as Christmas is over, the Valentine's stuff is in the store. And as soon as Valentine's is over, the St. Patrick's stuff is in the store. And so
I get so
they
annoyed
love it.
seeing that.
They can't wait.
Christmas
so
is
they
about to be in
go
Hobby Lobby in the
trick-or-treating.
next like week.
Right?
Yes.
Jeez.
It's worse and worse every
Oh
year.
my gosh.
But yeah, I hear what you're
well,
saying.
come on, you guys. You're poo-pooing their happiness. Don't do
No,
it.
that's
No.
it's great for them to get to experience. But I'm just saying, like, you know,
American consumerism. We're
that's
used
right.
to it.
Yeah, we're used to it. They need to see it and enjoy it. I mean, it's like going to New York. You know,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
you have these ideas and you have these. You know, if you're from Louisiana and you get
Yeah.
there and you're like, oh, this is really commercialized and everything's
And
like.
I love New York.
No, me
though.
too.
Oh my gosh.
But it's like going to Jerusalem. You know, there's beautiful parts about it, but now there's
Yeah.
like a McDonald's next to, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the world
yeah.
we live in. So,
Well, the kids are excited. They want to ride a yellow school bus, and
Yeah, I
they want
bet.
to go to a football game because typically the schools internationally are really small, so they love these like hometown rivalries and
oh yeah,
doing all of that fun stuff. Being in different clubs and sports that we have available that they don't have internationally.
Mhm.
I mean, they're just regular kids. They're just regular kids that have a dream of being an American teen for a school year. So if anybody wants more info on how to be a part of that, or if you don't have room in your home, but you still want to help with the kids, what Charleszette said is true. I would love to talk to you more about joining our team.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. Let me ask a couple questions. So this is just my own thinking while we're meanderings. Have you've been doing this for 11 years, Heather, in the position you're in?
So I started out as a host mom, and then I was an area rep.
Okay.
And then right after COVID, like literally in 2020, I was promoted to a management position so that I lead a whole team here in East Texas and Northern Louisiana.
Got it. And so you've been doing this for how long?
Just the management portion?
No,
So
all of it.
11 years.
Okay.
And then I've been in a management role for 6.
So you host homed 11 years ago.
Yes.
Okay.
And multiple times.
Yeah.
But that was our very first time we hosted.
The reason I'm asking is, have you seen, and this is just me, have you seen a shift in cultures with technology, with phones coming into kids' hands? You know, I'm
That's a good
interested,
question.
you know, about when I was in high school, obviously nobody's coming in with a cell phone, but that's a major danger issue, you know,
Yeah.
I write about and talk about a lot. So how would someone manage that if it's not your student, I mean, not your kid, but they come in and they have a phone and now they're being, you know, they're exposed to whatever. They can have whatever app they want? Do you have any kind of control over their behavior, their
That is
actions?
such a good question.
Because, you know, unlike, you know, if it was drugs, right? If they came in and they were like, oh, we smoke pot in my country and it's no big deal. You're like, well, look, you can't have pot in our house.
Yeah.
You know, these are teenagers. So you have teenagers coming in with a phone. How do you guys manage that? Is that a thought? Like what?
Yes, those are great questions. And you actually brought up an issue that I wanted to mention. So I know we were talking about mental health, and I want to just say, first of all, something that you prompted me to remember is the international students used to be a lot more resilient than American kids as far as just their resiliency,
That's
their
right.
independence. But once COVID happened, that created kind of a worldwide shift.
Yep.
And even international parents who aren't typical helicopter parents, I tell my exchange students, I'm your helicopter mom. This is my job to hover around you and keep you safe while you're here until I return you home. But now, post-COVID, everybody's a helicopter mom. Like we
That's
saw that
interesting.
change. And then also with COVID, we found that the kids became a little bit more fragile. Like their resiliency wasn't as strong. And
Yeah.
so we needed to move quickly and adapt to that because we have thousands of kids in our care that now have maybe a mental health challenge that previously we weren't dealing with this group of
Yeah,
kids.
that was what I was wondering.
So, so we actually at ISE, we have initiated a mental health training through CSIET, and it's a mental health awareness training that our entire company is learning and participating in right now, and everyone will be fully onboarded with this new training by August 1st. So when the new students arrive in August, that we're ready with the most current data
That's great.
on how we can support these kids on what's normal teenage angst, normal ups and downs, versus we need to get these kids some more support, which is where partnering with agencies like yours, Clint, is really beneficial because we have people on the ground that if we have a child that does have a greater need, that there's somebody available, that we can get them the help they need.
Yeah.
And I will say that it's a very, very, very small percentage of kids that fall into that category. But we still want to be ready. Like whatever these kids need, we want to be the best prepared to take care of them. And then as far as controlling their actions, yes, you're right. They're teenagers. And there's a few things. First of all, these kids are guests in our country and they're on a visa status. So we want to protect their visa. Mm-hmm. So, and protect them, of course, but also protect their standing, that they don't make a dumb mistake as a teenager that could possibly harm, their visa status for future visits or anything like that.
Well, that's a lot of accountability off the cuff for them coming in knowing like, hey, I can't mess around and find out. Like I got to like do the right thing and, not cause trouble here. I wish some of our teenagers had some of that, more of that.
Yes.
I was just about to say our own teenagers.
They and their parents
that's what I mean. Yeah.
sign a standards of conduct.
That's great.
And their program expectations. So even if something were allowed, like commonly across the world, drinking age is much lower than it is here.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
However, in our country, that it would be illegal for that child to do that, for that student. So they have to follow the laws of our land and also the agreement that they're going to participate with their host family, that they're going to do normal host family chores and responsibilities, that like those things could be different than home, but they understand coming in, and their agents do a really good job of preparing them. Once the kids arrive on program, we get together with them too and make sure that as much as we can, we prepared them and gotten their expectations in line with what they need to do to have a successful program.
That's great. Yeah, if there's anything I can do for you guys as far as, training the parents or equipping your staff or whatever on, technology, I would say that's one of the biggest pushes for me is, I travel all over the country speaking to teenagers and parents and student ministries and churches. And I mean, still today, even after 6 years of doing this, I was in New Orleans last week and it was like, 300 teenagers. And I said, raise your hand if you have a phone. They all have their hand up. Keep your hand up if you have social media. They all have their hand up. Keep your hand if your parent taught you how to use your phone, and all their hands go down. And so, this is the culture we live in. 98% of teenagers have a device, but 97% of them, no parent sat them down and said, hey, here's what's safe. Here's where you can go. Here's accountability. Here's support. And the phone is killing more people than guns and cars.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. So, the suicide rate's increased 176% since 2010. Yeah. 200% more self-harm. Like this is American statistics. So part of me thinks you have these, one, is it the same everywhere? And it looks like yes, but not as bad as it is in America. And so now it's like, how do we, on some level, how do we protect these international students as they come in, and they haven't been exposed to maybe, China's TikTok, for example, it's like puppy dogs and rainbows and butterflies. Yeah. Like that's literally, they curate it to where you can't get on anything else. Yeah. You come to America, TikTok is a bunch of teenagers dancing with no clothes on. So it's like, how do we educate the families that are having these kids come in to say, hey, listen, one, you need to be taking care of your own kids with boundaries, but two, like you have a responsibility, both from the kid coming in and to the kid coming in, that devices are a new thing, that the margin for error is very small and also has grave consequences when you mess up versus, that's never been a thing in history when it comes to this kind of international exchange situation. So anyway, y'all might already know that and be doing stuff about it, but if I can help in any way, let me know.
You want to host a kid?
My wife would have to be here for that conversation. Yeah. Well, you mean trial it?
Well, we'll talk off camera.
That's right. That's right.
It's awesome. I can't. Yeah, it is the best. And when any concerns come up with social media use, I will, say that we really encourage the kids. Like when you're home with your family, like leave your phone in your room. Like be with your family, be engaged, be connected. And honestly, even with our students and our own children here in the States, like that's the biggest safeguard that we can give them is being connected with them.
That's right. Yeah.
Don't let them hide away in their room and have an alternate universe. Like, be present, be with your family, be with your kids, have family dinners.
Because they can also mess around and get very homesick.
Yeah, that's right.
Because, like it's a big shift to go from, and I mean, it's admirable and commendable that they're willing to do this. And that's awesome to have that experience. But to actually do it and be so far away for so long, even if it is just a semester, to be away from everything and your parents. And, it's a lot.
Well, it should create some anxiety, you know, and that a lot of times missionaries will go overseas and then, they're like, can you see them? They're struggling with anxiety. And I'm like, it's assumed that they're going to deal with some sort of stress, like it's a hard thing. So
for sure.
Yeah. However I can help, however we can help locally.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Charleszette, you got anything you want to say closing or wrapping up?
Just thank you for having me and Heather and allowing us to use just another platform to tell you about ISE.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Well, you are great. I mean, I think the Lord uses these opportunities, and that's my goal. Is I run into people and I go, "Oh, you seem awesome," and this is a great thing that I think is helpful to the world that my sphere of influence or my people are not talking about or dealing with. And so how can we open people up to this idea and see what the Lord's put on their heart? Because I think everybody has something that they can contribute to the gospel being spread everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're not a Christian and you're listening to this, what is your motivation for caring for the world and making it better and unifying? And because we have so much division, and everybody wants to get on and tweet and, post about how mad they are about it. And this is an opportunity to actually do something about it. So that would be my challenge is put your money and your time where your mouth is and, make the world a better place.
All right now.
Yeah. I think I totally agree with you. And I think that we can, like you said, get in our heads that we have to do these big, grandiose things, but really we can impact another person and a family in a place far, far away just by saying yes to loving on them for a little short time. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And we would love to help you on that adventure. I always say it's an adventure. And I'll leave you with this. It's in a quote from exchange students. They say, it's not 10 months in a lifetime. It's a lifetime in 10 months.
Ooh.
That's good. I like it. Well, Heather, thank you for coming on. Charleszette, thank you for coming on. We'll put all y'all's links in the show notes. This typically drops on Friday, so we'll y'all send us all your stuff and we'll tag y'all to it. But thank y'all for listening, and just pray. Pray for these kids, these families that are doing this. Pray for your own family and our own country for unity. Pray for the Holy Spirit to open your eyes and your ears to whatever He might be calling you to do with international students, international missions. We still have a job. We are still ambassadors for Christ, and so I hope that we can do that well.
Absolutely.
God bless you guys and have a good week.